Hello, my name is Les Jennings. I'm a staff archaeologist with the Jamestown Rediscovery Foundation. On this episode of Dig Deeper, I'm going to tell you about our re-examination of an area that we previously excavated in the late 90s and early 2000s. At that time, they had left some areas intact, and we want to examine them because they are right in the area where the fort transitions into a port period town. For the past month that we've been resuming our regular excavations out here in the field, we've been exploring an area that was excavated in 1999 and in the early 2000s. At that point in time, they were trying to find the original outline of the 1607 James Fort, and while they were here in the southeastern portion of that 1607 palisade wall, they also found part of the 1608 palisade extension that John Smith had ordered to be constructed. Immediately finding that, which was their main priority at that point in time due to their strict 10-year deadline, they moved to the north and western portions to find those palisade walls, leaving some of the areas around here unexcavated. Of course, the veteran archaeologists that we still have today were very interested in these areas and had bookmarked them for later research, which we've arrived to now. Beginning in 1994, the project of the Jamestown Rediscovery Foundation was to find the original outline of the 1607 James Fort. In order to do that, they needed to find the outlines of the fort, the post holes belonging to the wooden beams that the colonists would have used for their wooden palisade. Once they found a line of these, they followed them in as far as they could, and they immediately found that outline of the fort. So you can see here, we're at the southeastern corner of James Fort. They found that southern and eastern wall coming down this way, and stopping here where it turns into a semicircular feature, the bulwark. This would have been where they had a raised encampment of dirt where they would have placed cannons in order to defend themselves against attack from the river. On the other side of this bulwark, they also had a large ditch, and we also found the evidence for that as well. The archaeologists also found a large structure that would have been located at the corner of the 1608 palisade extension. That palisade extension would have come from that corner of the 1607 palisade up to this point, and then extended northwards to meet up with another wall. This structure, what we call the factory, we believe was used as a spot for manufacturing, and we can determine that based on the large amount of artifacts related to the finding of precious metals, such as glass alembics and distilling flasks. We also believe that this spot was possibly used as a trading post with the local Native Americans. We found large quantities of glass trade beads and scrap copper, artifacts that we know Europeans brought in large quantities to specifically trade with the Native Americans. The archaeologists also found another structure immediately south of the factory site around here. This is what we call the John White House, because in 1644, a land patent was granted to a man named John White, who built a very large house here with a brick and stone foundation. This house would have been immediately outside the confines of the 1608 palisade extension, meaning that people are moving from within the fort eastward onto the island. The transitional phase from when James Fort starts becoming a port town, James City, and representing the colonial government and the seat of power here in Virginia. Also of interest is that this building burned down in the 1650s. As archaeologists, this is great because this often serves as a time capsule, holding within all the artifacts from that occupational period. The archaeologists also found a number of trenches in this area, the most prominent being Ditch 8. Ditch 8 was a 75-foot trench extending east-west throughout the majority of the fort. And we know it actually post-dates the fort period because it cuts through the post holes of the palisade walls. There were different phases of trenching throughout that overall Ditch 8, leading to many questions about in what period it was used and when it would have been filled in. Hopefully, further testing in this area will help clarify those questions. Ditch 8 would have extended through the palisade wall and come through this area over here. But part of the problem of re-examining that ditch is that we have over 2 feet of backfill in this area. That backfill, normally when we're done with our excavations, is placed over a geotextile fabric like this one here in the corner. We place this down not only to protect the features in the site itself, but also so that when we re-examine this area in the future, we know exactly where we stopped and where we can recontinue our excavations. However, this is quite a bit of material that we have to dig through. So we have recently been using a backhoe to do most of the work, removing all of this excess modern fill so that we can more quickly get to these features and examine them better. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you all stay tuned to our further videos of this Dig Deeper series, and feel free to visit us at the island to see more of our archaeology in person.